Thanks for joining me again, Virgo. It's February 2016. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au, and this is your reading based upon your sun sign. If you know your lunar sign or your rising sign, you can apply some of what I'm saying to that as well. And it's an interesting month because straight off the mark we see Venus, your finance and I guess planet of fortune, moving to the very intense and transformative conjunction of Pluto. That's in your fifth house of speculation and love affairs. But essentially what that means is some dramatic or very intense set of circumstances may have been occurring now, which cause you to really rethink, reevaluate money and the use of money and its purpose. We all know its purpose to buy things, but there's a larger context here, and that has a lot to do also with the transit of Mercury, your ruling planet, which I'm just looking at your chart here in the transit list, actually moves to the sign of Aquarius, your sixth house. That's the sixth house of work and employment circumstances on February 14th. Now that happens straight after the new moon, which is also occurring in this place. So I'm tying this into the finance situation here. The new moon in that sixth house with your ruling planet there does indicate very strongly a push to revamping your workplace relations, your systems and your approach to work. And therefore this may be tied in with the reevaluation of your finances and how you deal with that. So I guess the question is, I normally don't have to ask this question of Virgo too much, mainly some of the other signs, because you are predisposed to doing work for the sake of service and making sure that you perfect what you do with a view to that being of some use to other people. But this combination does in a way remind you, or perhaps it should remind you, that the reason you work, we do want to earn money, but the reason we work is to really fulfill our spiritual destiny and to provide some service. And you of all star signs should know that the process of work, the actual state of working, is one in which if you are completely mindful and focused on the job at hand, the idea of time, the idea of what you're getting for that work is not so much at the forefront of your mind, if in your mind at all. You are principally focused on doing the best you can, perfecting the work at hand, and as a result of that, the perfection of work, the high standards, reputation grows, and as I always say, the money therefore then flows. So this month is a reminder of that. You do have an approaching sextile from the Sun to Saturn in your fourth house. We've talked about some of these outer planets over and over again throughout the past few months. I don't want to labour that, but suffice to say that Saturn in your fourth house of self-satisfaction, happiness, domestic circumstances, Jupiter in your sun sign right now, and Neptune in your marital sector, along with Uranus in your eighth house and Pluto in the fifth house. All of these outer planets move a lot more slowly. But here's a case in point where the Sun moving into the sextile aspect of Saturn also shows us the tendency, especially from around the 4th of the month, to really solidify your work plan. We see the planet Mercury not only being your ruling planet, but it is your career planet, so moving there through the area of your workplace activities throughout the month of February will refocus your attention primarily on that area. Once Venus passes this conjunction of Pluto, I would also say that apart from it ruling your finances and that reevaluation process going on there. It is naturally the planet of love and romance, being in your romance sector. So for some of you, there could be some rather harrowing circumstances associated with love. We said that from around the 7th, there's a very strong square aspect to Uranus that can trigger some unforeseen problems in your relationships. And we see also that Venus then moves to the sextile of Mars on the following day. So actually these two transits are happening simultaneously, and these can be very, very volatile aspects indeed. Mars gives you a lot of energy and drive, and Uranus creates that the X factor, as I call it. So you need to be prepared for that. And Mars is in your 3rd house of communication, making you probably a little more forceful than you normally are this month in the way you like to communicate your ideas. The other important factor here, on the 23rd, I'm jumping ahead a little here, we see a full moon in your sun sign of Virgo. That's pretty significant. You've got Jupiter in the North Node in absolute, what we call a partile conjunction this month. So you are definitely changing the way you want to present yourself to people. And the full moon there shows a strong emotional flavour to this as well. These 3 planets will therefore at the end of the month be simultaneously influencing your relationship sector again. And that too could show a need to turn over a new leaf and start a new chapter in your life on that front. I'm mainly looking at the Sun, the Mercury, and Venus and Mars as these innermost planets that trigger the day-by-day influences, and the new moon and the full moon, to give you an overview of what is actually happening for you this month. You really, really have to keep working on this sense of self-satisfaction, which is being obstructed by Saturn right now, and that could also be one of the triggers for this change in attitude in your work. If you haven't been particularly happy with your work or the type of people you're working with, the level of creativity also shown by the 5th house and Venus, Pluto and Mercury there, then that could be the principal area of focus this month that I'd be recommending you work on to reinvigorate that inner happiness that may have been lacking for some time. I hope you join me again next month. This is just a preview. Really, take a look at the more detailed analysis at astrology.com.au. We have the textual rundown for you for the month of February. We also have the 12-month overview, the forecast for a lot of different areas of your life, if you want to get that in the context of the bigger picture. And I hope to see you here next month. Take care. Bye-bye.